Hey guys, it's Meg again, and I'm back with another video for you today. Before I start this video, don't forget to subscribe and of course hit that bell notification so you get notified for my videos. Alright, today I'm going to talk to you about finding a job fast in New York and what you can expect in the job market right now, how it's going. So this is a part 2 to the original video I did, which was how to get a job fast in New York, which I published in September of 2019. That was about a month after I started working in New York, after I had moved here. This was about 8 months before the pandemic. When I first started looking for jobs back in late 2019 in New York, there were so many. There's just a plethora of jobs out there. I could mass put out my resume to hundreds of different jobs and people barely looked at them because they just didn't have time because they were getting so many applicants, still are, but this was just a completely different process back then. I put in for the current job I have on a Monday. I got a call from my boss a few hours later asking me to come in to interview later that day. I couldn't. I went in on a Tuesday, interviewed with him, and then I got the job offer on a Thursday. That's pretty much how quickly everything happened. There were just a plethora of jobs back then, and the city was booming, everything was thriving, so there were a lot of things to be offered out there. I should also say that I have been extremely fortunate to keep my job throughout this whole pandemic. A lot of my friends have been laid off. It's been very, very difficult to see them go through a lot of things, and I can only feel for them. I can only imagine what they've been through, what they have gone through. I'm just going to give you the best tips that I can based on what I've seen them go through. Let's talk about the job market now. Obviously, it was booming before the pandemic. Everything shut down in March 2020, which it's been a full year since that has happened. I just actually got an alert today that the first confirmed case of COVID was last year at this time on March 1st, which is insane to think about. I think on March 1st last year, I was doing karaoke with like a bunch of my friends and coworkers. So very different times right now. So for a while, I would say for about 6 months, between March and September, October, November, there was just a complete almost hiring freeze. I know a lot of my friends that were unemployed got jobs, but not what they wanted, but just jobs so that they could make money to survive, to stay in this city. The problem right now is there's so many candidates and there's so many qualified candidates. You know, before, yes, there were 500 applicants for one job, but they were more appropriate for the job, you know, like entry-level positions, entry-level people applying, you know, kids right out of college, people with little experience just coming in right to these entry-level jobs. And so that's appropriate. But now we have so many people that have been laid off from really big jobs where they maybe had to have their masters, where they've had 5-10 years of experience, and so now they can't get the jobs that they once had, so they're going back to entry-level jobs, and which they are way overqualified for. Someone with their masters, someone with 5-10 years of experience should not be having to apply for an entry-level job, but those are the people getting the entry-level jobs. So the people that that are qualified for the entry-level jobs are not even getting them in any way, shape, or form, which is very unfortunate. A lot of people have been just putting in for jobs and, you know, getting interviews and then never hearing back. And that's the biggest thing that's been bothering me about this whole pandemic. It was bad before, but it's even worse now. You put so much time into an application. Yes, it can take 30 minutes to an hour for one application, going through every detail that they want. And these companies won't even tell you if you've made it through to the next round or not. I've had friends who have gone on interviews and then just never hear back from the employer, which I think is super unprofessional. There are available jobs out there. It's just not a good market for office jobs, for career-oriented jobs. Those are the difficult ones to come by now. It's not impossible. I don't think it's impossible. I think anything with hard work, perseverance, determination, you can get. I have seen it so many times in my life. And you know, it can get discouraging if you're not hearing back from these employers, if you're just applying and applying and applying. But I've noticed the best way to do it, especially when I was looking for a job when I first got here, I was I was all or nothing. So I would do 5 hours straight of applying to 20, 30, 50 jobs. And then I would just give it a rest for 2 or 3 days. Do the same thing again. 20, 30, 50 jobs, just keep going at it, and you just have to keep doing that. I mean, obviously, if you're applying for a more qualified position, my advice to you now is to really, really tailor your resume towards that position. Make sure you're getting keywords that they're looking for, especially if it's going through computer software, because they're going to want to pull out those words that they put in the job description from your resume. Make sure you're tailoring your resume cover letter to this specific job description. If they ask for detail-oriented, make sure that's on there. If they ask for, you know, 5 years experience of marketing, make sure that you can back that up with your 5 years experience of marketing and use their exact phrasing. That's really how you're going to get through to an interview. You know, once you're in an interview, that's a completely different situation. I will be making this a series, so I'm going to try to give you detailed tips on each process, the resume process, the application process, the interview process, all of that. I want to make sure that I can help you. Another big thing that you can do right now is reach out to your connections. You may think, oh, I don't have any connections in New York. You might not even know it. One of my almost first jobs in New York was a barista, and I got that because a woman I worked with in Kansas City, her daughter works here in New York, and she knew a lot of restaurant people, a lot of jobs, and everyone in that industry, and so I was able to interview for a restaurant as a barista just because of her, which is crazy because you wouldn't think like any of your connections would know someone in New York, but you just never ever know. Reach out, make sure you're building that up. So you really, really just have to persevere, and it is so hard to get the energy to persevere, especially when things look the way that they are right now. But I do think there's hope on the horizon. I do think there's good things coming. I think this city will definitely thrive again. I don't think New York is dead. I know that that's contrary to popular belief right now, but I really, really don't think this city is dead. I think it's sleeping. I think it's hibernating. It's going through a rough time, but it's New York at the end of the day. It's gonna survive. It's gonna thrive again. You know, will it come back the way it was? No, that's gonna take years to build up again. So yes, this is what the landscape looks like now. These are the hurdles you're going to be facing. You can probably get a job pretty quickly here if you know someone who knows someone, or if you're willing to do something that you wouldn't normally want to do. You know, if you're willing to be a barista, work at McDonald's, you know, work at Amazon as a packaging employee, you will get a job quickly. Are you going to get what you want quickly if you want an office job? Probably not. But again, there's no shame in working at McDonald's or as a barista. That's always been my backup plan. I worked as a waitress for years. Again, I'm very fortunate enough to have a job that isn't in the restaurant industry anymore. And I love my job as a waitress. I worked as a waitress for 4 or 5 years. It was a huge part of my life. It was a huge growing experience, and it's something that I'm not against going back to again. I would love to do that. And especially here, as a waitress, as a bartender, you can make so much money. People are making probably more than me just as a bartender, just as a waitress. Bartending is really the way to go in this city. If you really want to make some money bartending, there are some illegal bars, clubs open in the city. If you want to risk that, go ahead. Probably serving is your best bet right now, just based on what's open, everything like that. So this will be a series. This is part 2. I'm going to try to release information on this every other week. Again, as I said, I'm trying to do vlogs as well as this. I just want to be able to give you guys content for this channel. And again, thank you so much for my current subscribers, my new subscribers, welcome to you guys. I love seeing new faces. I'd love to hear who you guys are in the comments. If you're a new subscriber, please introduce yourself. I would love to hear more about you. And I want to help you guys in any way that I can. That's my goal with this channel. New York is a difficult city to tackle, especially if you're moving here and you've never lived here before. I am constantly learning things about this city. Anyway, again, thank you guys so much for all your support. Don't forget to subscribe. It really helps me out with this YouTube channel and helps me reach more people. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.